What comes to your mind when someone tells you that they love you? What if I told you that we are constantly lying to the people that we care the most about? This is a conversation about the lies we tell our children and the next world war. But before I break it down, I would like to share a story about a land I discovered far away. How many of you here love traveling? Just a show of hand. Awesome, thank you. Now, I happen to travel to a land called Meundu. The local people call it Itisusi Meundu. Itisusi represents the people, while Meundu represents the land. Just like any other country that has gone through injustices and abuse, Meundu was no different. For me, two things stood out. One, their culture and way of life. And number two, the power in their name. When the people had gotten enough of destruction, the corruption, and a lost path, they decided to look at who they are and their identity, and that brought them together, and they rose in their numbers, thousands of hundreds of thousands. They rebuilt their country with love and pride. When I went to Meundu, I didn't want to leave. Imagine clean rivers, clean lakes, fruit trees all over. Their main food is fish and rice, my favorite. Their main means of transport are water buses and bicycles. Oh, I love that. But anything organic is illegal. I mean, anything that is modified is illegal. They only entertain organic food stuff. That's the order of the day. Today, everything good is celebrated in the spirit of the Itisusi, while anything that is discouraging or negative is dealt with in the spirit of Meundu. I did not want to leave Meundu. But coming back to East Africa, my home, the situation is shocking, if not sad. Today, Lake Victoria is on its deathbed because of human activities. A lake that is hosted by 3 countries, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, is owned at 6% by Kenya, followed by 43% Uganda, and finally, Tanzania has the lion's share at 51%. Today, hotels and industries are pouring effluence into the lake, while hyacinth is choking the lake of oxygen that supports the aquatic life of Lake Victoria. This lake is a source of livelihood to over 40 million people who depend on it, and the population is growing. According to the United Nations World Environmental Reports, they say that demand for water will rise by 40% by the year 2050. Today, about 3 billion people live with water scarcity and lack of, or they do not have access to clean water. The United Nations Secretary General is quoted saying that water, peace, and security are inextricably linked. And without effective management of these resources, we are ushering in an era of conflict, war, and disputes within communities, wild animals, and between nations. But what does that mean to an average water user like you and me? We have seen headlines about fishermen conflict between Kenya and Uganda, and it's growing. If we do not act, we'll be facing the next world war right into the eye. But my journey to here began in 2010 when I traveled to my village in Siaya County that borders Lake Victoria, west of Kenya. It was an emotional visit. I remember going to the lake, but there was no lake at all. I saw something that looked like a massive green carpeted football pitch. It was totally covered by hyacinth. Hotels and industries were choking the freshwaters. Fishermen were engaging in illegal fishing techniques, if not losing their jobs. They were using dynamite, fishing, and mosquito nets to fish. Now, dynamite is an explosive triggered in the water and kills everything in a diameter of about 70 to 100 meters. Every living thing. While mosquito net fishing, from the word, it's the net we use in our bedrooms that is actually used in one swing to catch lots of fish, even the little newly born fingerlings. We humans can be extremely, extremely destructive. But I kept on asking myself, and I had powerful questions banging through my head from left to right and center, and I could not figure a way out of such a predicament. There was too many questions in my mind, but I remembered my nephew and my nieces, our children. What kind of land do we want to give them when we exit? What will they inherit? Do we even care about our children? Why even bother sending them to school to learn about science, geography, and facts that we do not give a damn about? I believe as an artist, I could do something. I founded a festival that combines art and environmental action to speak for endangered lakes in our region. It was in this course that I realized that photography, film, music are such powerful mediums to break down complex concepts about environmental injustices so that our people can understand how this problem is so huge on our shoulders. Today, NAM Festival is a nomadic festival that tours around endangered lakes and rivers to raise awareness. We use art as an advocacy tool to push for a mindset shift. We have gone round the lake in celebratory cultural events, talking to people about the effects of their actions to our planet. Nam is a Swahili word that means yes, and we acknowledge it is time to save Lake Victoria. In Luo language spoken around Lake Victoria, Nam means the lake. We went on in 2016 to invite the Chief Justice of Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania to begin unpacking issues of environmental injustices and water as a right. This went on, and we began organizing the communities to clean waterways so that they can begin to protect that which puts food on their table. One thing that comes to my mind is the fact that as we do all this, we still expect the environment to feed us. How is that possible? children are beginning to realize that there's a problem with the planet, and they're waking up asking us difficult questions. What other lies will we tell them? What other lies will we give them? If we cannot at least save ourselves from this crisis, we can at least save our children from a possible third world war brought about by the crisis of water. I say this with a lot of conviction that it is possible. Today, there's a number of women around Lake Victoria who are building fish ponds and farming tilapia fish because they want to counter the challenges that fishermen experience navigating through the lake because of hyacinth. There's some very young men and other youths around Lake Victoria in Homa Bay County in Kenya who are turning threats into opportunities. They are actually processing fish leather from Nile perch skin, a species that is exotic and introduced to Lake Victoria by the colonialists to feed their fillet appetite. I think there is hope. Today we process hyacinth into ropes and make handicrafts or biofuel, including organic fertilizer. We realize as a change process that it has to give back something. It has to be entrepreneurial and attractive. It is at this point that I want to say that when you look at River Rhine in Europe, it was reborn after action. If you look at the Nile River Delta in West Africa, it was reborn after action. So if we act differently, we can give birth and regenerate our planet. We can create our planet's rivers and lakes and restore them back to the way we found them so that we can hand over to our children a better future than we received. Many of these children are now asking us questions. What other lies will we tell? I don't want to tell any lies anymore, and I hope you too. I am saddened by the fact that we know these things, but subconsciously, we just refuse to act differently. Lake Victoria is an ecosystem that is important to us. I call it the unity symbol of the East African people. In fact, I think it is time to engage the East African parliamentary system so that we can start the process of decolonizing Lake Victoria and giving it back its true identity and the original name that it had. Probably only then we will start owning, protecting, and loving such a heritage. But first I want to clarify something as I finish. And it's about Miundu. Miundu is right here. We are in Miundu, and we are the people Itisusi Miundu. Somebody say Itisusi Miundu. Which means it is us, you and me, the answer to such complex problems. The answer to fix the next world war. You can begin today by calling out polluters for what they are. You can begin today by making a difference and avoiding unnecessary shopping and plastics. If you really want to make a difference, then the action has to come from our individual responsibilities. Or else, we would just rather tell these children that we do not give a damn about them. It is possible. We can and we shall defeat this crisis. Stop the lies. Thank you.